So what role do you play in the foster system, and what is your role with Marie's House of Hope?
All right, I am a caregiver through Marie's House of Hope, Director of Operations of this agency.
Nice.
Yeah.
What does that entail?
I run the day to day work here. I ensure that the children have everything they need and the staff members have everything they need.
And what time does your day start?
My day starts at 5 a.m. During the school days, it starts at 5 a.m. I say roughly about 8:30 a.m. on the weekends. I get my first call. It depends. It really depends on what's happening at the particular homes, or if there's an issue, call off, etc., whatnot. If I have a child that's currently AWOL, I could get a call in the middle of the night. If I have a child that's at Dayton Children's Hospital, it just depends on the given day. No day is the same.
What's I'm just curious, like, what has been your craziest day off the top of your head?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
been
know
a
it's kind of a
lot.
broad question.
Yeah, I'd probably say the craziest day. mm, I don't know.
That's okay.
I don't know
It's
what
okay.
the craziest.
We'll keep talking. We'll see
Okay.
if we can get somewhere
All right.
with that. Yeah. Um, so, from your perspective, so you work with kids pretty hands-on.
Yes.
So you have a really interesting perspective here.
hmm
On average, how does a child acclimate to being a foster kid?
It really depends. I'm very surprised with the children that come in our care. So currently we have 4 children who are new to care. I want to say, no, we have about 6 who are new to care. So this is their first placement outside of their traditional home. If it's with parents, grandparents, aunt, uncle, whatever. So they're taking it way better than I would have if I was a person who was separated from their family. And I take a lot of credit on that part as an agency. It's because we continue to make this environment feel more home-like. Um, we always inform the children that this is not a permanent placement. Our goals, we establish goals right off the bat, so the children can be aware that this is where we need you to work on, and your caseworkers will work with you and the loved one to either reunify or to find a foster home to go to. But group home is never a permanent placement for none of the children we have here. And they're pretty young as well. And so I'm pretty sure we see a lot of behaviors because the child is homesick. But I remember going to camp when I was young, and that was only 7 days. And day 3, I was crying every day. I wanted to go home. And I'm surprised I don't see that with the children that we have here. Now, we see with some children, but it's every blue moon. I think a lot of our children have a lot of behaviors. They have been through a lot of abuse, and it depends on the environment. Some of them are relieved to be out of that placement. Um, and I'm noticing that when they enter our placement, we're doing a lot of restructuring, um, retraining. Um, Example, hygiene. Hygiene is a big one here because we mandated mandate that all of our children take a shower daily, um, and those are some of we get back and forths about that. So it's either you take a shower tonight or you take a shower in the morning. But it's just certain things. I, for the children, just to stick to your question, um, I don't see that a lot in the children we service today.
kids like understand what's going on when they're taken out of the homes? Like I've heard stories of, um, abuse is happening in a home, and they get removed, and the child still is, they, even though they're very aware of this like abuse or whatever's going on at home, like they still want to like be with mom and dad. So do kids understand like when they get removed and are placed in group homes or they're placed with a foster family? Do they have an understanding?
Not always. I have one particular child who is not aware that they will not be going back home. That is just not an option. That specific county will be taking permanent custody. So some of them don't realize it, some do. One thing I say is that these particular children know their rights better than I do. They know what can and cannot happen. They know where they can and cannot go. They know what a staff member can and cannot say. Right behind me, I don't know if you can see, it's the Child Youth Bill of Rights that we have posted in the houses. And those are some of the things that we go over each day. Well, not each day, probably once a month. We pick out specific rights. But to answer your question, a lot of the children are aware of why they're in placement. I would say very few are not aware. They believe that this is just a temporary placement because something happened to mom or dad or something happened. I do have two children that says, yeah, this person abused me. This person beat me. Now, I do see some of the children who have dealt with sexual abuse. They're aware of what's going on. They're aware of why they were removed. I'm going to leave that alone right now. I come back to that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I have a thought, or we can go. I believe you shared a story in our pre-interview.
Okay.
If you feel comfortable sharing it again, just kind of talking about the idea of like structure. Like you guys offer structure for children who probably come from places where there was a lack of structure, and it's a way to it's how you guys can take care of them. And you mentioned a story about a girl who like couldn't deal with the structure, and she like left and like she like got pregnant. Do you remember this story?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Are you comfortable sharing that?
I am comfortable sharing that. One of the things that we strive for here is structure, also with normalcy, realizing that these children are going to be children. Now, you do have a sprinkle of children who are, perhaps I say, grown for their age. They could be 13, 14, but they have a maturity level. I'm not going to say maturity level, but through their trauma and through a lot of things that they've been through, they're now operating as a grown adult. Okay, this particular child was in our care, who the only reason why they're in our care is based off their age. Okay, they can take care of themselves. If you put them in an apartment, they are going to provide. This particular resident had a job, already had 2 kids. The only reason, once again, is because of their age or why they're in care. So when a child has to raise themselves and you're putting them in this structured environment, we're getting a lot of friction now. Okay, I don't need you. I'm only here once again because of my age or because I had this situation with my parent or whoever my guardian was. So this particular young lady was in care with us, already had 2 kids, okay, and went out will go AWOL on a consistent basis, end up meeting someone, I guess, and in the midst of that, she ended up getting pregnant. So those are some of the things, and sometimes I take a hit for that personally, because I'm like, wow, how does a child, or say a child gets pregnant in the care? But I have to realize that we have limitations. So if a child wanted to walk out this building, okay, I can only redirect. I can try my best to say, no, I don't think that's a good idea. No, that's not safe. But legally, I cannot put my hands on this child. I cannot do anything that will stop this child from exiting the building. I have to allow that child to leave. And I have to follow protocol. And that's calling 911. That's calling the county to inform them that this particular child has left our care. So now, once they leave our care, it's now the responsibility of the police in this specific county. So this happened routine. This young lady was leaving a lot, leaving every day. Some days will stay 2 to 3 days at this particular guy's house. So those are some of the things that we deal with children who are, I want to say, I only see this past the age of 16. Now, our little ones, we do have every now and then who goes AWOL, but at the end of the day, they're not going to be out there because they want to eat. They want that shelter. I did have a particular child who we just released from our care who went AWOL every day. It was like clockwork. Got home from school, I'm gone. Okay? So I already knew I need to have the police on speed dial, county on speed dial. Me, the caseworker and I has built a relationship. When I call the after hours, they say, this person, you're calling about this person. And they're simply just going to the library. They don't want to be around the other children. This particular child hated other little children. So he didn't want to be here. So when you are put in situations like that, we now have to determine what's best for the child. Because I can't continue to allow a child to go through this. Clearly, he or she is making this statement, I do not want to be here. I don't feel comfortable being here. So we just got to have that long conversation. Either we have to initiate by putting our notice in, or we're going to have that tough conversation with the caseworker and say, hey, we need to find this person an alternative placement. So,
how does that feel, like, knowing, like, I don't know, I would almost, like, feel, like, helpless. Like, I don't know if that's what you feel, you know, like you guys are doing everything you can to help them, but they're, like, not helping themselves. How does that make you feel, I guess?
I think for me, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I think for me, I try my best not to feel hopeless in these situations. How can I say this? Hear my heart when I say this for anybody who's watching. These kids are more street smart than the average, okay? When a child goes AWOL, I have no concerns. It just depends on their background, okay? And the reason why I say this, if I had a child whose background says that they used to steal cars or rob people, yes, I have a concern, because you're going to walk up on the wrong person and it's going to be detrimental. On the other hand, I have another child who goes AWOL. I probably won't have a concern because I've been listening or overhearing conversations that he or she is having with their peers. So 9 times out of 10, I know where they're going. Like I knew where that particular youth were going, to the library or going to his family's house or whatever. I don't feel hopeless because I have 16 children currently in my care. okay? If I felt hopeless for every last child who walked out of here, every last child who did not agree with the rules that we establish, then I'm neglecting 14, 15 other children, okay? Who need my support, who need my help. I love all the children in my care as my personal children. I always say to myself, I'm not having any children because I assisted raising over 20 to 50 children who's come in and out my care. But hopeless, no. Because eventually I'm going to be able to have a conversation with that particular child, and we're going to come up with an understanding of what the rules are, and I'm going to try to help that child to prevent he or she from leaving or from doing the things that they've been doing. So I would say no.
Great answer. Really good answer. Yeah, I love how you answered that. What are the biggest challenges kids face when entering foster care?
Honesty. Okay? You're placing this child. Oh, I love this question. I'm going to pivot and it's going to answer this question. One of the challenges I'm fighting right now is we have a particular child who's doing virtual schooling, okay? And this particular district does not want them in their school because of what they read on paper, okay? I'm on this meeting with 7 people who have not met this child, okay? And you're forming an opinion based off of what you read on a paper. And it just eats me up because this child cannot be normal because of something that they've done in their past. Now, that's how we accept children. So we receive an email letting us know that it's a placement needed, and we read through their file, okay? And it will say either current behaviors or past behaviors. And if I dictated based off of reading each of those child's information, there will be no children in here. Because a lot of the children we get have extreme behaviors, okay? One of the things, to go back to your question, is that when these children are dropped off here, there's a lot of secrecy going on. I know why they're placed here. The caseworker know why they're placed here, but the child may not know, okay? So sometimes we have to not necessarily lie to the child, but we have to come up with a false narrative on why they're here. I remember it was so bad that we had to tell a child that they were here on vacation. Okay? It's just a vacation for them to have fun. And after the 2-week vacation's up, now it's time to go home. So now we have to come up with another lie. And this is not what Marie's House of Hope wants to do. This is what the county has directed us to do. Now the behaviors are increasing. Now this particular child is damaging furniture, damaging property. Now the child is acting out sexually. Now the child is showing their true colors on why they were either removed from the home or they're acting out the trauma that they experienced. So now we have to deal with the backlash. So one of the things, you just never know what a child can handle until you tell them. We provide every resource here. We have therapeutic services. We have case management. We have a nurse practitioner. We have individual staff who are licensed therapists who can be there for that child to help them through the information that they just heard. So I think that's one of the biggest hurdles that we're dealing with children, is that we're not being honest with them on the reason why they were removed from care, on the reason why they're in the foster home, group home, or residential facility. And now they're not wanting to build trust because this person lied to them. And now they hate me because they feel that I lied to them, because I am only simply obeying the orders of what the county has directed us to do. So those are some of the things that really just irks my nerves, because we're not honest with the children, and they were also going off a piece of paper and not really investing or figuring out, is this child what this paper says? Okay. Hope that answers it. And it just really it makes me mad to no end, because a lot of the children that we have in our care should not be in care at all. Some of them are normal children. And as you probably stated from other people, is that we simply just don't have foster homes available. These kids don't need to be here majority of the time.
What do you mean they don't need to be here?
They don't have behaviors that is stating that they need to be in a group home. They need to be in a normal home environment. Now, you do have some children who do need to be in a group home setting, who needs the round-the-clock service and structure. But some of them are just here because we simply can't find a foster home. And you don't want to send them to residential, because now they're going to pick up some major behaviors that you're not going to be able to come from. We had one particular child who was in our care, and was the nicest child ever. Probably displayed some behaviors at home. And I'm one of those people who can say that sometimes a man does need to be in the house to deal with certain children. Now, we can argue back and forth, people agree or disagree. And I think this is what that particular child needed. A more assertive, authoritative figure, a male role model in the home. And this person, they were pushing for this person. They need to be in a residential facility. And we're offering the best advice. No, give them more time here. I think the child will be fine. Child leaves, child comes back. Child's a whole different person. Whole different person. The things that are spewing from his mouth is only what you learn out in a residential facility. Now I'm a part of a gang. Okay? Now you're telling me that you're going to hurt me violently. You're going to kill the people in my family. Now we're acting out sexually. Now we're just doing a lot of things that you were not displaying before you went to this. So we have to come up with a happy medium. We're going to have to come up with a better evaluation system to determine if a child really needs to be in that care. Because I call it the 3-tier system: residential, group home, and foster home. That's how I remember it. And I think this person just needed to be in the group home, but they pressed on, and now we're dealing with major behaviors.
Is this like a problem with the system, in your opinion?
Yes. Because, and I love caseworkers. Please don't ever think I don't love a caseworker. But I have more interaction with these children than a caseworker does. Sometimes caseworkers may come out once or twice a month, or come out after an incident occurred. And I'm telling you that, hey, these behaviors that were displayed at this previous placement are not the behaviors we're seeing. Now, we understand honeymoon stages. We totally understand that. But we're out of that. And this particular child is following all of our directives, doing what is needed. I don't think they need to be in that environment. And sometimes this particular person go through an assessment, and it's one person who's deciding where they need to be. Okay? One person. Based off a simple conversation. Not evaluation, not coming into their environment, not observing for several days. It's just based off of conversation that they had for less than an hour with a particular child. And now they're deciding, I don't think this child needs to be here. I think this child needs to go back to a foster home. Even though they're not ready, they're still displaying sexual behavior. They need more intensive therapy, or they need to go into a higher level community, and they're not even showing higher level community behavior. So those are certain things that just another pet peeve of mine, but I go on.
Yeah, sounds like you really get to actually be with the kids.
Yeah.
And go in and see. So that's such an interesting.
Definitely with staffing. Now, and I told you this, I was a person who didn't like kids. Godly, I don't like kids. And I came from a nursing home. I was a social worker at a nursing home, so I worked with the seasoned saints. That's what I call them. And dealing with that environment was calm. They asked for something, I took care of it, and we were done. And then I think it was because I was the oldest out of 5. So I was always babysitting, and I hated that. So when this job came around, I said, no, I'm not working with kids. But I think this is the most rewarding and one of the best jobs that I've ever had in my life. Because all I consistently think about in my mind is that when I see this particular child 20 years from now, I want them to say that I made a major impact in their life. I don't want them to say, Craig was the meanest staff that I've ever had. He always yelled. He always treated me mean, and things like that. So to go back is that the reason why I'm having a lot of interactions because nationwide we're having a staffing crisis. A lot of people, let alone don't want to be foster parents, and don't want to work with the kids because, as everybody say, these kids that we are having now are different generation, more behaviors, more mental health issues. So that's why I'm consistently in the house, because I always strive and let the staff know is that these are not your children, okay? We're not raising these children how you raise your children, because how you raise your children may not be the appropriate way. I always want to be visible to let the children know that I'm always here for them, and that if they have any concerns that they can come and talk to me. I always want to be that consistency in their life, even on holidays. So Christmas, I'm here. Thanksgiving, I'm here. 4th of July, I'm here. Because this is more than a job. This is my family. These are my kids until the court says they're going back, because they can't be with their loved ones for the holidays. Okay? So now you're stuck with a staff member who's only here for the money, who don't show any love or affection, who just sits on their phone the whole time, have no type of interaction. So I think that's with my goal, and I believe that if people have passion like that, I think we will turn this world upside down, definitely with the children we're serving nowadays. So.
Damn! Oh my gosh, that was insane. Yeah, great answer.
Thank you.
You have such a passion.
I try to.
Good. I mean.
And they irritate me though. Oh, they really irritate me sometimes, but I really do. I think this is the only job that I didn't have to. I could discipline without raising my voice or putting my hands on them. Because I come from an environment where if you did something or disobeyed, you got a spanking. And here, you can't touch the children. And here, you have to be mindful of how you speak to the children. So I have to be very strategic and come up with different ways of how to communicate effectively to these children and get them to do what I want them to do. And I think that's the best thing, because I haven't had to. Now, I raise my voice sometimes, but as a physically touching a child, I never had to do that. Um, Unless they're a danger to themselves, and we are CPI certified to restrain. But unless they're a danger to themselves or other, to where we have to physically place our hands. But other than that, rewarding. More ways of communicating to a child. As people say, gentle parenting, I'm in the middle of that. I don't believe in gentle parenting or like whatever the other one. I'm just right in the middle. So
That works for you.
yeah, that works.
Nice. That was awesome.
Awesome.
So aging out,
Mm-hmm.
do you deal with age outs?
We do deal with some age outs. I haven't experienced an age out here.
Okay.
I have experienced a child who's still in our care, who's been in our care for now going on 4 years. Okay? Because they cannot find a foster home for this particular child. And I believe that the county just loves this agency and believing that we're doing everything we need for this particular child. But Mr. Irvin will tell you that no child needs to be here longer than a year. But somehow, this particular child is still here, but he has no problems. No problems.
Why isn't he getting placed?
I think because this particular child needs 24/7 care, and it's not. How can I say this? Due to his mental status, I don't think that this particular child will be able to survive on their own. I think that someone will always need to be in the house, because this particular child may get into things that they're not supposed to, or maybe get a hold to a lighter or whatnot. But
So is this child in a group home? Right
yes,
now? And it's been in the same group home for 4 years?
yes.
What is that like emotionally for that child to be in a group home for 4 years?
Emotionally, I beat myself up only because I've been here for now almost going on 2 years. And probably 2 months ago, I finally asked the question on why is this particular child here? I should have asked a long time ago. We have the information. I know why the child's here. Why is the child not in placement? And this particular child, I think what is so hurtful is that I think it was told to this child that it was the opportunity of going back and was still communicating with loved ones. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, communication just ceased. We call, no answer. Call every day, no answer. And I think for this particular child is that they built a bond and a relationship with this person, and it's just. So I think that's the most hurtful part of the job. And I had another one who, particular young man's brother cut him off. It's the only thing he had of family. And all of a sudden cut him off. So now the behaviors are starting because I don't want to be here, and the only person I had contact with, they're gone. So, yeah, it's heartbreaking sometimes.
How toll does this have on you in your life?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. um, so how can I say this? I'm gonna give you a little snippet of my life story. 2 years ago, I lost my mother. I had to take custody of my little sister and my little brother. And I'm a workaholic, okay? I love to work. I love being here. And I don't know how to separate my job from my personal life, okay? Um, and that's one of the biggest things. Um, my health took a toll based off of my consistency of working. Um, I want to say earlier this year, I had burnt out. It was like one of the worst things that I've experienced. From a person who was working, loved to do what they wanted, to the person staying in bed, did not want to come in here, didn't want to be bothered, coming in here late. I used to come here at 8 o'clock. Now I'm coming at 9:30. Now I'm coming here at 11:30. Depressed. Um, Now it's really affecting my job life because things that I've been assigned to do are not getting done. And it really took in is that we had a survey and I failed the survey. This was an in-house audit and I failed it. Um, and it just kept me realizing things that I wasn't doing. And I think during that time, I had the flu. I never took any days off. I continued to work. And in particular, two major incidents happened early this year that dealt with a particular staff and a child. And it really messed me up because it made me evaluate the people that I bring in here. And I think this is why we're having the staffing crisis. We're not having a staffing crisis, let me take that back. I'm very particular of the people that I bring around these children. I'm not saying that a sexual thing happened with the child, but those incidents put me in a depression on top of work burnout, on top of being sick. It really did something to me. And it reminds me, like February is the worst month to me now. And it's because these situations, all of this happened. And I don't ever want to be in that predicament again. I never want to be in that predicament. And my attitudes start showing when I communicate to other people. I was meaner. I never smiled. I was just changing all over. And I just had to have a wake-up call through my little brother, who was really fed up on how I approached him and said some things to me. And that's what really just said, oh, I got to do better. So, yes, I have allowed this job, the circumstances of the job, to take a toll on me. And I have carried it home sometimes. And you would have thought I learned from it, but I haven't because I'm still doing it. So, my birthday is next week, so I've decided to take some time to myself, hopefully, and then I'm going to shut my phone off. So that's one of the biggest things is my phone. Gosh, I hate it. It rings, rings, rings. So, hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing that I don't really think is talked about a lot. is the burnout.
Yeah.
And then the balance, the work-life balance, especially in a job like this.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you try and prevent burnout, especially after having that experience?
I like to travel. So I'd probably say every other month I try to go somewhere. Even if that's to my dad in Indianapolis, I try my best to go somewhere. Instead of drinking alcohol, I drink a Pepsi, a nice cold Pepsi, and it just relieves a lot of stress.
Why is it important to like do that stuff? Why is it important to travel and drink Pepsi?
If I don't do those things, then it will start showing up through I will bring a negative impact to the children we're serving. One of the situations that happened was we had a particular person here who, I'm going to say allegedly, may have done something. This particular person, was a veteran in child care. And I think the person was overworked. I believe the person was burnt out and tired. And this particular situation cost this person their whole entire livelihood. One situation, one wrong move can cost you your life when working with children. And that keeps circling in my mind. It's not my intentions, but I'm going to be so overworked, so burnt out. I'm going to be so upset that I may do something that I regret. And then they don't care about what I've done back in the day. They don't care about how good. They care about this particular situation. And I don't never want to get in that predicament to where one thing ruins everything that I work for. So that's why it's important to drink a Pepsi and to go out of town every other month. I even implemented, you get 1 day off a month, a mental health day, on top of your regular days that you have off of work. And in this office, I implemented a mental health lunch break. You have to remove yourself from your working space, go take a walk, come down here, watch TV, do something. For a whole hour a day, you can't do anything. You have to, all cell phones, everything off. Okay? Mental health. We can't help children if we're suffering inside as well. We can't expect children to attend therapy if we know we're fighting demons inside of ourselves and we're not going to attend therapy. And that's why I'm a big thing of telling my staff consistently, don't come in here with that negative energy. Leave all of that stuff outside. We're already dealing with challenges inside this house. On top of yours, we don't need. You might as well go home for the day. So take your mental health day. Schedule it. I don't care. Find some time and peace for you. That's what I encourage dealing with this work. Because I had one person text me while I'm mid-shift and said, I don't think this is a job for me. So I happily relieved the person and said, hey, I understand. And we moved on from there.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. 12 minutes left, just so you know.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a perspective that's just not talked about at all in this work. So thanks for sharing all that.
You're welcome. What time is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can start wrapping it up. It's 2:13.
2:13. Okay. All right.
Do you have to be somewhere?
I have to go pick up one of the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let you do it. Okay, so I guess to wrap up, For the foster children out there,
Mm-hmm.
who are looking for hope and love, what would you say to them?
For the foster children who are looking for hope and love, okay, one of the things that I believe that we have in common, okay, when a child is in foster care, they're separated from their mom, okay? That's one thing that we've always had in common. Either their mom passed on, something happened to where they're no longer in their mother's care. And one of the things that I had to is that the world has no pity for me. You'll find some people that say, "Oh, I'm sorry for your loss," okay? Doesn't mean I'm going to get a reward. Doesn't mean that someone's going to pay my bills for the rest of my life. One of the things that I try to etch in the children that we service here is that you must continue to press on. You must continue to fight. You must continue to understand that this is just a season in your life that you will overcome. Okay? I've learned every last issue in my life, and I think the environment that we're in, God has blessed me tremendously to allow the situation bless me a lot. Losing my mom, figuratively or whatever, I have never had to want for anything. Everything has been provided to me. And I am so grateful for that because I really thought that was the end of the world for me. And I imagine some of these children feel that each and every day. The person or the loved one, they feel alone. They feel isolated. They feel that they have no one to talk to. I think that realizing that there is hope, that there's a season, this is just a temporary season in your life, and it is going to get better. I think foster care, the way foster care has evolved, there's a lot of resources in place for youth in foster care. For our particular group home, we're not like the rest of the group homes. We try to, we're not like the rest of the agencies. We try to continue to give these children a lifestyle that they might or might not have had at their home. From traveling all around the country, from going places, ensuring that they have a birthday, ensuring that they have the latest shoes, ensuring that they're getting haircut and groomed each and every day. There are people who have the right intentions to be foster parents or caregivers. I think understanding that someone may break your heart, someone may do something that you don't like, but don't always put that shield up. Let certain people into a limit. Not everybody out there is there to hurt you or harm you. So those are some of the things that I want, because those are one of the biggest things that we deal with now, is helping the children understand that I'm not here to hurt or harm you. Okay? I'm here to love you. I'm here to give you support. I'm just here just to be Craig Anderson and be that caregiver until you go to your next placement. So.
Yeah, and that's all those kids need, really.
Yeah, really.
Need Craig Anderson.
Try.
Alright, anything else, guys?
The mom story.
Oh yeah, so we've been asking everyone this. So, your windows are broken.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they broken? What's the story?
Okay, the story is in certain environments, you can't pick who you live with. You can't pick who you work with. This particular child was very upset that there were people here that did not want to be. This child felt that they were not being heard at all. So some children, they act out to be heard. And this particular child decided to let off some steam, and to bust 5 windows in this facility. Lord Jesus, I was not here when that happened. I can't just imagine. This is not the first time. This is the first time it happened here at the office, but at the other home, I remember I was on my way back from Indianapolis, and the staff member calls me and say that one of our child is busting out the window, literally going through each window around the house. All I hear is crash, and then you hear the kids, oh, he got that window. Next thing you know, crash, the next window. So he busted out every last window in the house, continued to do that. And that's when I said that this particular child didn't show any behaviors like that. We never thought this would happen. And I was just so shocked. But when a child feels that they're not being heard or someone is not meeting their needs, we have some children who decide to act out in a way that is not appropriate at all. So when that child comes into this office, they're not allowed in this room until these windows are fixed. And that hurts that child more than anything, because this is where their environment was. So now you are removed from this particular environment and have to go to an alternative place until these windows are fixed. So that's their consequence. And we have come up with an agreement, and that they have been okay with it. And I'm pretty sure they won't do it again. That's how the windows got busted. And those are double pane windows.
It's impressive.
And got through. And it was just simply throwing rocks. Oh gosh, yeah. So I'm the director of operations, so I'm the person who the executive director is coming for it when certain situations like this happen. So yeah, I got it from both ends of it.
Yeah, you see it all.
Yeah, see it all.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.